Hi guys, today I am here to bring you a full face of Wet n Wild products. As you can see, it's very subtle, it's nice and pretty and simple. If you would like to keep on, or if you would like to see how I got this look, please keep on watching. Bye. Hello again. So of course, again, today I'm here to bring to you my Wet n Wild, or my full face Wet n Wild makeup. And as you can see here, I'm trying to get my life together, trying to get my hair situated, but I end up just putting it back in a ponytail anyways, like I should have done in the first place. I will give you a little bit of a background story about Wet n Wild. I personally love Wet n Wild makeup. Some of this stuff is going to be first impressions. Some of this stuff is not going to be first impressions, like this face primer, the matte face primer, which is in the Photo Focus range, is of course a matte primer like it says on the bottle. And I personally don't know if I'll use this again. It wasn't a bad primer, but my skin is so dry, and for it to be completely matte like it was, it felt kind of tight. I usually go for a primer that's super hydrating, but it wasn't a bad primer. It was really creamy, and it did what it said it was going to do. So I can't give it a wrong impression because it made my face feel tight, but somebody oily would probably really enjoy it. Now I'm taking the Cushion foundation. It has a SPF 15 in light ivory. I mentioned this in my makeup haul, and this is the first time I'm ever using this, but I'm using it with a Real Techniques sponge. This is a drugstore as well. Wet n Wild doesn't make a actual sponge, so I'm using an alternate sponge. And I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I used the regular Photo Focus foundation in my wedding. So I strongly, or I have a, I love this foundation pretty much. And as you can tell, this foundation is medium to light coverage. Or not medium to light, but medium to full coverage. It covered that blemish that I had on my cheek. So it's a really good product. It doesn't have a super strong scent to it, so I would recommend it to somebody, even if they have super dry skin. Oily skin, it is a little bit shiny, as you can tell once you start to put it on, so I'm not really sure if somebody with oily skin would like it. Maybe normal to dry. It does, of course, dry down matte, but it isn't overly drying. It has a little bit of hydration to it. Now I'm taking the Photo Focus concealer in light ivory as well. As you can tell, I looked at the tube because I grabbed the wrong one. I meant to grab the fair one. So it kind of blends in with my foundation, which I don't really mind because sometimes I just want coverage under my eyes, because you can tell that I have a lot of darkness under my eyes. I'm just taking the Real Techniques, I can't speak today, sponge again and blending everything out. And I'm blending some more. Blending, blending, blending. And I am going to take a little bit more of this concealer because I wanted some more coverage under my eyes since I did have dark circles that day. This concealer is not a bad concealer. It's just very lightweight and it doesn't have a lot of coverage to it. I usually use this concealer on light days where I'm not wearing any kind of foundation. I just need something to pop on my face to erase the dark circles and head out the door. So I personally enjoy this foundation, just not on days when I want a really, really full coverage face, because this is not the concealer for that. But it does the job. So I personally like this concealer on light days, like no makeup days or something like that. I'm going to take this pointed, or it's a new brush. It's called the Pointed Dome brush, I think, from Wet n Wild. It's the newer collection brushes, and then I'm taking the pressed powder in Warm Light and just setting my under eye so it doesn't crease. My under eyes crease like crazy, like crazy. I don't know if it's just because I have a super dry face or whatever, but loose powders sometimes look too cakey on me, and this is my go-to powder. If you didn't notice, it's all busted up. I love this powder. It goes on really smooth. It doesn't make my under eyes look cakey. It's awesome. It doesn't have any kind of flashback. Again, that's the powder that I used on my wedding day. So I personally really, really love it. I'm just taking a bigger fluffy brush from Wet n Wild as well and setting my whole face. The white brushes from Wet n Wild that look like that have like the pink tone at the very ends of the bristles, some of them I like, some of them I don't like. This powder brush I really do like. It's really easy just to grab and put on a bunch of powder and then just walk out the door. But there are some other ones that I'm going to use later on in the video that I personally don't really like. And then I get caught up in my show, so don't mind me. I'll get back to it in a second. I kind of zone out for a second, and then I'll pop back in. So I'm taking the contour palette. It's in Dulce de Leche, and I take the contouring side. This contouring powder I use all the time. It is a little bit, I'd say, yellow. It has doesn't have a yellow tint to it, but on my skin it can look a little bit yellow, depending on what foundation I'm using. I'm not too fond of this brush. I usually use a bigger brush to contour with, or to bronze with. Today I'm basically just bronzing, but I did not have a bronzer with my in Wet n Wild, so I just used the contouring palette. But I personally do not like this brush for contouring. It looked patchy, and this contour usually does not look patchy on me at all. So I'm gonna assume that it's either the brush or the foundation, but I've worn the foundation again using a different brush, and it did not do this. So I'm gonna say it's the brush because it's the first time that I've ever used that brush. So, but I'm putting it all over my face, on my neck, so it blends together, and I'm gonna add just a little bit more to the right side of my face because it was a little bit patchy, and I just wanted to try to even it out a little bit. But now I'm moving on to the eyes, and I use the Nude Awakening palette, and of course I'm going to throw away the little thing because I don't like it. But I'm going to use a fluffy blending brush. This is one of my favorites from Wet n Wild, and I'm going to take this little taupe color and put it in my crease. And this palette was very, very powdery. I can't say that. Ew, there's a lot of powder kick up. Some of the colors blended, some of them didn't. This color was not that bad. It blended pretty well. And I'm going to take some more and then, of course, just put it in the other crease as my transition color. And I'm going to continue to blend and blend and blend. The show that I was watching here that keeps catching my attention was Hemlock Grove. I was watching the first season, and it was just like, whoa, it was getting cray-cray. So, of course, I would pick a show that is going to distract me the entire time. But sorry about that. But now I am going to be taking on the same fluffy brush, I guess I'm going to add a little bit more color, but the bright light there is my mirror. I got it off of Amazon. It has a really, really bright light. And the lighting that I'm using right now is not that great. So, of course, I'm trying to compensate for that. But I'm going to take the same fluffy brush and go into this chocolatey brown color. Put it on the outside corners of my eyes and also blend it into my crease, keeping it lower than the first color that I used because I want to be a little bit more precise. And then I do the same thing on the other eye, of course. I tried to speed through this, but the program that I use, it wouldn't let me go any faster than this. So I apologize if it's a little bit boring at the moment. But I'm just blending, of course. And I'm going to swipe away the fallout. This palette, like I said, was very powdery and it had a lot of fallout. But I'm going to take the newer blending brush from Wet n Wild and focus this green, this like forest green color on the outside V of my eye, just to give my eye a little bit of depth. I'm going to take it in my crease a little bit, but I'm not going to go in as far as I did with that chocolatey brown color or the taupe color that I used at the very beginning, because I want a defined outer corner. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye, and as you can tell, I point out that there's a lot of fallout. So I just keep going, and I'm going to sweep it away with the same powder and the pointy dome brush that I used at the beginning. And just a second to swipe that away. But again, I personally would not recommend the Nude Awakening palette because it is so powdery and not a lot of the colors blended, and they weren't really that pigmented. That green and that chocolatey brown were pretty pigmented, but I had to work with them a lot for them to blend. Now I'm going to take this flat brush and take this pinky color and put this on the inside corner of my eye. I wanted this to be a little bit more pigmented than it was. As you can tell, it was very, very sheer. And I spray my brush with the Photo Focus finishing spray. And it really doesn't do much to it. So this palette was a no-go for me. But I work with it, so that's all that really matters. As you can tell, I said it's not bad, but looking at it right now, it's not that great. I do the same thing on the other eye. And then I get caught up in my show again, and I guess I'm confused about something that happened. Y'all, I'm terrible when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, my attention span is the size of or is like the span of a 2-year-old sometimes. Again, I'm going to spray my brush just to try to get the color a little bit more pigmented. It doesn't really work out too well for me, so I just try to do the best I can. Now I'm looking for another brush, and I'm going to try to take this cream color right here to highlight the inner corner of my eye. The reason I didn't take the first shade was because I swatched it earlier and it just kind of went poof with powder. It just exploded everywhere, and no. So I tried to take that color and do my inner corners, but it didn't work out too well. I'm going to take the same blending brush that I did with the that I used the green with, and I'm going to just define the outer corners a little bit more. Try to blend everything together. And now I'm going to, again, try to highlight the inner corner of my brow, or not my brow, but my eye, because I'm stubborn and I have to blow the palette off. But here my camera died, and I went ahead and did my liner off camera, and my brows as well. For my brows, I used the what's it called? The retractable brow pencil, in dark brown, and for my eyeliner, I use the Kohl crayon in black. And I am doing my under eye. Again, my camera died, so I was just doing my thing, and I looked up and my camera was off, so I had to turn it back on again. But I am just doing my under eye here, using the same colors that I used on my actual eye itself, or the top part of my eye. And I'm just blending those shadows and my eyeliner, and I'm kind of smudging my eyeliner out a little bit for a little bit of a smoky effect. And I'm taking the Max Volume mascara, and I'm going to coat my lashes a little bit. I never realized how actually violent I was coating my eyelashes with mascara until I watched this back, and I'm like, geez, could be a little bit more gentle, but but again, I'm just going to coat these lashes. This mascara wasn't bad. The Lash Paradise from L'Oreal is a lot better than this. This is the first time that I ever used this mascara. So, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it's not one that I'll probably want to use all the time, and I poke myself in the eye. I do that a lot. Sometimes I put my mascara on like a 2-year-old, so. And I'm just going to coat my bottom lashes. I did not really like the wand for my bottom lashes because they didn't get, this mascara just didn't fluff my lashes up like I really like them. It says that it's a volume mascara, but it didn't really volumize. And I got mascara on my face and then poked myself in the eye again, like I love to do, obviously. But now I'm going to blush, or put on blush. I used the Apricot in the Middle blush, and I'm just gonna use a slanted brush. Whatever. I'm gonna use a slanted brush to put my blush on, and then I'm gonna highlight my face using the Precious Petals Wet n Wild highlighting powder. I love this powder, but I did not like this brush with it. I would not recommend this fan brush from Wet n Wild at all. Usually this highlight is like bam in your face, but the brush was just not that great. But I tried to stick with the Wet n Wild, the whole Wet n Wild face. Now I'm going to use Rebel Rose in the Liquid Catsuits. I love this one. This one is great. Pretty much all the catsuits that I've used so far are super pigmented, and they last a really long time. They're not too drying on the lips. I mean, it is a liquid lipstick, so of course you're going to get some dryness, but they are really comfortable to wear, and they last a super long time. And that is it for the face. Oh, sorry. I'm going to spray my face with the setting spray. It's the Photo Focus setting spray. And my eye still hurts from where I poked it with mascara. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon with another video. Thanks. Bye.